Hey guys, Hamsterwheel here with a new video, and welcome to episode 10 of Gearing for Dungeoneering. That's right, we're already up to episode 10. Today we're going to talk about another class that can tank, and in this case it's the Feral Tank Druid. So without further ado, let's get started. Now currently this Druid in bear form has definitely got some room for improvement. And like the Protection Warrior, doing a DPS test is a little pointless, so we're once again going to focus on the stats. So currently this Druid has 7,776 armor, 350 defense rating, 19.54 chance to dodge, and a total health pool of 9,097 hit points. Definitely not the greatest, but we're here to fix that. So let's once again work our magic, and there we go. That's much better. Alright, let's check out what items we have, shall we? Now before I start, I'd like to say that I did have to search high and low to find decent tanking items for our Druid, and I had to be creative at some parts. The reason is that there's just not a whole lot of tanking gear out there for Druids to get through questing. There's just not a whole lot of leather gear in the game with defense and a lot of stamina that you can get through quests, so that is very unfortunate, but you know, you gotta work with what you have, so that's what we're gonna do here. So we're starting off with the Scout's Hood, which is 18 agility, 12 stamina, has 3 sockets, a socket bonus of 4 agility, 12 hit rating, and 24 attack power. Now without the sockets, you would just say, you know, it's a simple rogue slash feral druid DPS item. However, because it has 3 sockets, it does allow us to throw a lot of stamina gems in there, and that's exactly what I did. There is a vendor on the Stormspire where you can buy very simple and cheap green gems for about 1 gold, I believe. And if you buy those and put them in gear, you can very easily kind of make it a tanking item. Again, on this item, it doesn't look like a tanking druid item on paper, but because we have 3 plus 9 stamina gems in there, it has a total of 39 stamina, 18 agility, 12 hit rating, and 24 attack power. Now, it's not ideal. You'd ideally have more armor and, of course, some dodge or defense rating, but again, it's all we have for the headpiece. But still, it is quite decent for a kind of new tanking druid, so there you go. Up next is the necklace, the Mark of the Raven Guard, which has 40 stamina and 17 defense rating. Very straightforward, very simple, but super effective. It's also the necklace that I use for my Prot Warrior guide, and for good reason. It's fairly easy to get, and it's just a great item, so that's what I recommend for the necklace. Up next are the shoulders, which are the Junior Technician 3rd grade shoulders. 11 agility, 16 stamina, 10 hit rating, and 56 attack power. Now this is definitely one item slot where I just wasn't able to find any decent option, so I had to go with something that at least had some agility, some stamina, and you know, some hit rating and attack power for like extra threat. So it's definitely not great, it's definitely not geared toward tank druids, but hey, it's at least something. So yeah, that's all we can do for now. Up next is the Cloak of the Valiant Defender, which has 262 armor. Again, it's green. That means that the armor value is higher than your average item. 21 stamina and 15 defense rating. And at 262 armor, that increased armor rate is going to be really good for when you're in bear form, because of course that gets multiplied. So it's actually a pretty damn good cloak for druids. I also recommended it for my Prot Warrior and its back because it's just a really damn good item. So there you go. Alright, let's talk about the Chestpiece. So for the Chestpiece, I've chosen the Heavy Cleft Hoof Vest. 500 armor, 45 stamina, 3 sockets, a bonus of 4 dodge rating if you get the right gems, and 24 defense rating. Now I'm gonna break my rule just a little bit. I've never used craftable items because basically these gear guides are for freshly dinged level 70s that are looking for respectable gear. Now if you're fresh at level 70, you probably want to save up every little penny you have, because there are some very expensive and kind of mandatory things you're gonna have to buy, like your flying skill. And that flying skill is pretty darn expensive. You can see it on the screen right now. It is definitely a hefty penny. However, druids are in this regard a little lucky. You see, you need 225 riding skill in order to use a flying mount. However, druids usually don't use a flying mount because they get flying form at level 70. And the cool thing is, all you need for flying form is 150 riding skill, not 225. So if you're never planning on actually getting a flying mount, you can save yourself a lot of money by just going with the regular flight form and skip a very hefty purchase that some other people might need to do. And on top of that, the Heavy Cleft Hoof set, which you're seeing right now because it's 3 items, is so damn good that I recommend any tanking druid to get this. Yes, it's not super cheap and it's gonna cost a pretty penny, but it's definitely worth your purchase. And like I said, compared to, let's say, a mage or a warlock who has to buy a flying mount, you can save some money and put it in right here. Trust me, it's worth the investment. So that's why I'm breaking my rule a little bit. However, if you're a druid and you're level 70, you're looking for a Chestpiece, and for some reason you are just broke as a joke, I do have an alternative for you. And that alternative is the Illidari Lord's Tunic, 29 agility, 24 stamina, also 3 sockets, a socket bonus of 4 agility, and 44 attack power. Again, I just slapped some 9 stamina gems in there, and as you can see, it provides a lot of stamina, a fair amount of agility, because agility is pretty good for increased armor, of course, and then some attack power. So definitely not as good as the heavy cleft hoof vest, but still decent enough for a freshly dinked level 70 druid who wants to tank. Up next we have the bracers, which are the Umber Hull's collar. 281 armor, again it's green, so that's increased armor, that's really good for bear form. 10 agility, 20 strength, and 22 stamina. Amazing bracers, fair amount of stamina. You get extra armor from just the fact that it has a higher armor rating, and also that 10 agility for even more armor. So definitely worth picking up if you're either a feral DPS druid or in this case a feral tank druid. However, it is part of the Cipher of Damnation quest chain, so yep, we're back at it again. We do have to have an alternative for that if it's not out yet on your server. And in this case, I'm recommending the Spy Mistress Wrist Guard, which have 18 agility, 15 stamina, 1 socket, a socket bonus of 2 dodge rating, and 15 hit rating. Again, without the gem, it kind of looks like a simple rogue / feral DPS druid item. But again, we have to be a little bit creative here, and I just slapped a 9 stamina gem in there, so it's still 24 stamina and 18 agility just from those bracers, and a little bit of hit rating, which, you know, never really hurts for taunt and stuff like that. Definitely not as great as the previous one, but if you can't get that item yet because the quest isn't out yet, this is a great alternative. Alright, moving on to the weapon, we got the Staff of Beast, 31 strength, 45 stamina, 30 agility, and you get 375 extra attack power in cat, bear, dire bear, and moonkin form. So it's a pretty straightforward staff, nothing super fancy. I mean, it would be better if it had armor or like defense or more stamina instead of strength. But, you know, it's pretty good for what it is, and it's also fairly easy to get. It's from the Ring of Blood quest chain, which is pretty much a quest chain that everyone does when they're going through Burning Crusade content, so it doesn't require a whole lot of time. It should be easy to find other people to do this, and again, for a fresh level 70, it's definitely not too shabby. However, I do have an alternative for you guys, and that is the Braxis Staff of Slumber. This one has 550 armor, 39 stamina, and when you're in bear, dire bear, cat, or moonkin form, it gives you 292 attack power. So you get less attack power from this staff compared to the other staff, but just look at that, 550 armor. That is 2,200 armor extra when you're in bear form, so that is amazing. Just from one weapon, 2.2k extra armor, and at 39 stamina. And again, the strength, you don't really need it, because things like armor, defense are much more important, and that's why even this staff at level 64 is still amazing at level 70. There is one catch though, and that is that this staff is a BOE item, so again, like I always said, you gotta check the auction house and see if it's on there for a reasonable price. If it is, I'd say it's worth picking up. If it isn't, or you just want to save your money, go for the Staff of Beasts. Next up is the Idol, which is the Idol of the Wild, which gives you 24 extra damage done when you're doing Mangle in cat form, and 52 extra damage done when you're doing Mangle in bear form. Not the greatest item, but again, Mangle is kind of nice in bear form when you're looking for extra threat on the mob, so that's kind of decent, and the choice was very, very limited when it came to idols through questing, so this is pretty much all we had to pick, so there you go, that is the Idol I would recommend. Moving on to the Trinkets. Now these are going to be familiar if you've watched the tanking episode from the Warrior. First of all, the Regal Protectorate, which has 26 passive defense rating, and when you use it, you get 900 extra health for 15 seconds. So kind of like a mini last stance warrior kind of thing, but definitely handy in emergency situations. And it's also part of a quest chain that is admittedly a little lengthy, but it's one quest chain that pretty much everyone does, and you can get this very early on when leveling in Hellfire Peninsula. So it's definitely a trinket worth picking up for your tanking druid. Up next is Debiri's Enigma, which has 30 defense rating, and when you use it, you get 125 block rating for 15 seconds. Now, the use is pretty much useless for a druid because block rating is irrelevant. Unfortunately, this was really all I could find in terms of a proper tanking trinket, And if you just happen to be over defense cap, you can swap this out for maybe like an offensive trinket that gives you attack power for extra threat. Now though, I thought I still get it because it's not super hard to get, and that 30 passive defense rating is definitely not too shabby. You could definitely use that as a kind of a new tank and druid. So that's why, despite having a really crappy use, I have it here on this druid. Moving on to the rings, which are also going to be the same as the Prot Warrior. First off, the Wind Trader's Band with 34 stamina, 6 agility, 12 defense rating, and 6 hit rating. I talked about this in the Prot Warrior guide. It's just an amazing ring, offers you a lot of stamina, it's super easy to get, so definitely worth your time in picking up. It's an amazing ring for a new level 70 kind of druid that wants to tank, so there you go. And the second ring is also the same, the Ring of the Stonebark, 12 agility, 18 stamina, and 19 defense rating. So pretty straightforward ring, not super hard to get, and definitely worth your time. So there you go, that's what I would recommend for you to get for your rings. Going to the boots, and once again we're going to talk about the heavy cleft hoof set. This time the boots, they offer 394 armor. Again, it's green, so it's increased armor rate over a regular leather boots item. 30 stamina, 2 sockets, a socket bonus of 3 dodge rating, and 21 defense rating. And like the chest piece, I decided to slap some stamina gems in there for just more health pool. If you want to put something else in there, of course, I'll leave that up to you. But again, I can't stress enough, these boots are amazing. The whole set is amazing. So definitely try and get this if you have the money. Or if you're a leatherworker, try and get the mats and get this. It is amazing. However, again, if you are a druid and you just simply can't afford these, well, I still recommend you to just save up money and get these. But for the time being, I do have a cheap alternative for you guys. And that is the Spy Mistress boots. They have 15 stamina, 2 sockets, a socket bonus of 4 stamina, 27 dodge rating, and 36 attack power. So these, not as good as the heavy cleft hoof boots, but still quite decent. With those 2 + 9 stamina gems, you get a fair amount of stamina and some dodge rating, which is actually not too bad. And of course some extra attack power, which is nice for threat. So this is a decent alternative for your druid, though again, I can't stress it enough, get those heavy cleft hoof boots, they're really good. And one more time, I'm going to talk about a heavy cleft hoof item, this time the leggings, which offer 503 armor, 33 stamina, 3 sockets, a socket bonus of 4 dodge rating, and 29 defense rating. And, well, again, I slapped some stamina gems in there just to increase our health pool. And, well, I think I talked enough about how amazing these items are, so I'll leave it at that. Just try and get these. But again, if you're super broke, you don't have the money or whatever, here's an alternative for you guys. And that is the Leggings of Unending Assault, which have 45 stamina, 30 agility, and 62 attack power. So that 45 stamina, definitely not too bad for a tank and druid. 30 agility, which increases your armor, also not too shabby. And a decent amount of attack power for extra threat, extra damage. So definitely not too bad for a fresh level 70 druid who's looking to tank. But, you know, I'll say it one more time. Last time, I promise you guys, get the heavy cleft hoof items instead. But there you go. I'll leave it at that. And we're moving on to the belt, which is going to be the Manimal's Kinch or Cinch or whatever you pronounce it. It has 348 armor. Again, it's also green, so more armor than a regular belt. 12 agility, 23 strength, and 24 stamina. So kind of a straightforward item, nothing too fancy, but super effective. Offers you a ton of armor, so definitely get this for your tank and druid. And then for the gloves, we got the Drake Tamer's gloves. And again, I had to be a little creative here, because if you don't count the sockets, you'd think just a regular kind of rogue feral DPS item. But with those gems, it kind of transforms it into more of a tanking item. It has 22 stamina, 21 agility, 2 sockets, a socket bonus of 3 agility, and 30 attack power. And again, with those 2 + 9 stamina gems, I know I bought a lot of them, but again, you know, if you go to the Stormspire and go to that vendor, which I showed before, you can pick those up for 1 gold a pop. It's pretty cheap, and it vastly improves your health pool, so I definitely recommend that. And you know, with those gems, it definitely is a decent item for your tank and offers you a fair amount of stamina, so definitely get these for your fresh level 70 tank. And there you go, guys, that's pretty much all the gear we have for our druid. Again, it's not the greatest, some items definitely need some improvement, but this is all we can get through questing, and later we can replace some of these crappy items with drops out of dungeons, but for now, this is what we got. So, after all that gear, how much did our druid tank improve? Well, let's pull up the old stats one more time. We had 7,776 armor, 350 defense rating, 19.54 chance to dodge, and 9,097 hit points. And now we have 16,230 armor, 431 defense rating, 19.24 chance to dodge, and 12,982 hit points. As you can see, we did drop a little bit with our dodge chance, but we gained an immense amount of armor, as before we had a physical damage reduction of 42.41%, and now it's 60.59%. And our health pool has gone up with almost 4,000 hit points, which is a huge improvement over what we used to have. So there we go, this druid is definitely ready to start dungeoneering, get into heroic dungeons, and make its way to raids like Karazhan and Gruul's Lair. As always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm Hamsterwheel, and have a good one.